This will sound very strange, but the FBI's raid of famous rapper P. Diddy's mansions and the stepping down of the CEO of Boeing on March 25th, 2024, as well as the song by The Police, Every Breath You Take, I'll Be Watching You, as well as the sports betting scandal of famous Japanese baseball player Otani, and the big comeback of Isaiah Thomas, which hints at the book of Isaiah, and the comeback of Obama as the president. And the movie Apocalypse Now, one of the biggest movies in history, are all prophetic signs from the righteous Christian God of the Bible that are predicting that famous actor James Earl Jones, the voice of the Lion King and the voice of Darth Vader, will die on April 11th, 2024, and that the historic barge that has been stuck on the rocks of the Niagara River for over 100 years will finally break free and crash over Niagara Falls on April 11th, 2024, and that there will be a catastrophic solar flare, coronal mass ejection, from the sun that will hit Earth and knock out the North American power grid on April 18th, 2024, and that the beginning of the severe apocalypse, the tribulation that is described in the book of Revelation, will begin on August 15th, 2024, immediately following the rapture event on August 13th, 2024. This and so much more amazing, profound things will be explained in this truly important video. The date that this video is posted proves that these predictions are being made ahead of time, as do these time-stamped emails and forensic notes PDF documents. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. All right. Prior to March 25th, it was predicted that the historic barge that has been stuck on the rocks of the Niagara River would finally break free and crash over Niagara Falls, and it was predicted that on March 25th, the voice of the Lion King and the voice of Darth Vader, James Earl Jones, would die. And the way in which God's big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, which is only being explained on this channel, the way it works is that it is a trail, or rather trails, of prophetic signs that connect to each other, leading to the ultimate event that God is communicating in the signs. And to understand fully, the proper understanding of God's prophetic signs cannot be understood properly without their connections and context to the other prophetic signs. It is an interconnected web, just like the Bible. Passages of the Bible cannot be isolated and understood without their context to the other passages in the Bible. In fact, the Bible is infinite. One can take an infinite number of pathways through it, and likewise with God's prophetic signs. And so, we had these trails of signs leading to March 25th regarding James Earl Jones and the barge that is stuck on the Niagara River. And as explained in other videos, this was leading to a warning of 7 days before the coming solar flare that is predicted. All of this has been moved ahead to March 11th, which will be the day it is predicted that James Earl Jones will die, and the barge that has been stuck on the rocks of the Niagara River will finally break free and crash over Niagara Falls. And this date that these events are predicted to occur on is predicted to be 7 days before the catastrophic solar flare from the sun that will knock out the nation's, North America's power grid on April 18th. Again, the reason for the 7 days warning is that there was a 7 days warning that God gave Noah in the account of the flood before the flood judgment. A 7 days warning to load the ark. Niagara Falls symbolizes the power of water moving over the earth and Noah's flood. It also engenders a perennial rainbow, God's sign regarding his judgment described in the account of the flood. Also, the barge that is stuck on the rocks of the Niagara River, when it got stuck in 1918, was involved in the most dramatic rescue in the history of Niagara Falls. And this is symbolism for the rescue of Noah and his family from the flood judgment in the ark. Hence the boat, the barge. All right, now in this video, I will explain how the Trail of Signs continues on from March 25th to April 11th. And I will explain the amazing, profound signs that occurred on March 25th. I documented this at the time in these emails that I wrote to some friends. And so let's just begin here by reading what I wrote. So, regarding the signs that occurred on March 25th that confirmed the analysis, the predictions regarding James Earl Jones and the Niagara barge, the Boeing CEO on March 25th email thread explains one of the signs and how it confirms. Okay, so God was also pointing to March 27th, all right? But that's for a different prediction, and anyway, that will be explained in other videos. What I want to get at here, though, is that the announcement that the CEO of Boeing would step down was a major prophetic sign that occurred on March 25th. I'm going to pause here and go to that email and explain that, and you will see how this is clearly a James Earl Jones prophetic sign. On March 25th, the CEO of Boeing announced he is stepping down. His name is Calhoun, which is the equivalent of 444 in English gematria. For those that don't know what gematria is, Roman, Greek, and Hebrew letters are also numbers, and as such, names and words can be converted into a numeric value. All right, now 444 is also the numeric value of the name Jesus. All right, so his announcement is, okay, the guy whose name equals 444, his announcement is 4 times 4 days before it is predicted that the CEO of America, Joe Biden, will step down. All right, now I am recording this on April 7th, and April 10th is predicted to be a step in the Trail of Signs that will in turn be another 4 times 4 days to the date it is predicted that Joe Biden, the CEO of America, will step down on April 26th, thereby making Michelle Obama the president after she is appointed the replacement of Kamala Harris after her predicted plane crash on April 20th. Hopefully I am not confusing you. That isn't very complicated. What I am saying, though, is that we have 2 sets of 4 times 4 days from the announcement of the CEO whose name equals 444 of him stepping down to the date it is predicted that Joe Biden will step down. Joseph was the 11th son of the 3rd patriarch. Boeing is 113, which hints at the 11th son of the 3rd patriarch in Hebrew gematria. Calhoun is also 74 in simple English gematria, and 74 hints at the date 74, which symbolizes America. Also, the name Jesus is 74 in simple English gematria. Calhoun guided his company through a crisis when two Boeing 737 planes crashed in 2018 and 2019 within months of each other. His announcement of stepping down, is 2 days before the predicted crash. I'm going to, in the future, start to skip these predictions for March 27th. I know what happened on March 27th. It is astounding. It confirmed all of the analysis that God was pointing to March 27th regarding the predicted plane crash for Kamala Harris. But from now on, I'm just going to skip over these sentences. So just be aware that I'm going to skip some stuff. All right. One of the plane crashes was a Lion Air flight in Indonesia. One of these two plane crashes that this CEO is known for presiding over Boeing during this crisis. The country that the 44th president grew up in for 4 years, Indonesia. That's where the Lion Air flight crash was. The Lion Air crash into the ocean was exactly 44, as in the 44th president, weeks before the prophetic flash flood in Hell's Gate Canyon National Park in Kenya, right near where the 44th president was born. Hell's Gate Canyon is the location that inspired the movie The Lion King, hence the 44 weeks connection to the Lion Air crash and the flash flood in the location that inspired the movie The Lion King. Okay? Also, the flash flood in the location that inspired the movie The Lion King occurred 44 days. And by the way, 7 people were killed. And again, there was a 7 days warning in the flood judgment. This was a flash flood. Okay, so the flash flood also occurred 44 days after the release of the new live-action The Lion King movie, in which James Earl Jones reprised his role. Okay? The Boeing 737 crash, the other Boeing 737 crash was in Ethiopia, near Kenya. In fact, it was on its way to Kenya. G128, the 128th word in Strong's Greek New Testament Concordance, is the word the Ethiopian. Michelle Obama was born exactly 128 weeks after Barack Obama was born near Ethiopia. Michelle will replace Kamala Harris after her predicted death in a plane crash. Barack, the Ethiopian, will then replace Michelle and become the president again. Michelle is predicted to become the president on April 10th. Again, it's now April 26th. Okay, exactly 61 months after the Boeing 737 crash in Ethiopia. And that is relevant because that's the way God's signs, patterns, and connections works. They are trails of signs, and the signs on the dates confirm the analysis. Only less than 3 times out of hundreds of predictions has the analysis been incorrect. Obama was born in 61. 61 is the 18th prime number, and 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6, the number of the Antichrist in Bible prophecy. Okay, it seems, although I shouldn't have said that, it is the fact that this Boeing sign, which is a Lion Air sign, which connects to the Hell's Gate Canyon and the location that inspired the movie The Lion King. And there's more that I'm not explaining in this video. For example, it connects to the flash flood, or rather the flash flood in the location that inspired the movie The Lion King, connects to the flooding backstage of the theater that hosts the musical The Lion King exactly 50 days earlier, and why that's relevant is explained in other videos. in Broadway when the power went out in the Manhattan blackout on the same day as Manhattanhenge, which is when the sun sets perfectly twice a year only between the canyon walls of the skyscrapers. Speaking of canyon and Hell's Gate Canyon, that's another confirmation of the Manhattanhenge event that occurred in the blackout, and that's because the lights in the sky are for prophetic signs, as God says in Genesis 1:14, and this was a sign in the night sky that was pointed to with the blackout because the coming solar flare from the sun will knock out the power grid, and God is using the metaphor in his signs of a lion's roar to symbolize this, hence why God is connecting the Lion King and the voice of the Lion King, James Earl Jones, to all of this. All right, and James Earl Jones was the expected sign, therefore, because of this Boeing sign, which connects to the Lion Air sign. Okay, it could be that April 1st is a step in the trail of signs regarding the solar flare. In fact, it is the case. The sign that occurred on April 1st will be explained also in another video, and it definitely confirmed the analysis. That was the day of the 7 deaths, again, the number 7, in the mistaken attack on the World Central Kitchen Aid Organization convoy. And that's because it is hinting at how the coming solar flare that will knock out the power grid will trigger food shortages and food rationing. And long story, that's in a nutshell. Okay, so that's why the World Central Kitchen, on the date we were expecting the solar flare related sign. It's astounding. The God's trumpet, Trump, bond reduction to 175 million on the day of the Boeing step down sign was hinted at Flight 175 on 9/11, another plane sign, which, by the way, was a Boeing plane. This is relevant on the day that the Boeing CEO announced his stepping down. It's a trumpet that confirmed the Boeing sign. Trumpet, Trump called into Channel 9 News on 9/11. That's another prophetic sign. All right, now back to this email thread regarding the other prophetic signs that occurred on March 25th. But we have now established that we received the expected James Earl Jones sign that was expected in advance on March 25th, the Boeing Lion Air sign, as I just explained. Okay, there's more to that story, by the way, that I could confirm that, the release of the Lion King movie just days before the flash flood, and on and on. The helicopter crash of safari tours in Hawaii, and on and on. I really could go on for another hour because that's how it works. It's an interconnected web, and to therefore explain a part of the web is extremely difficult because you end up pulling the entire web, and it's not really possible to explain things in a two-dimensional linear form, which is the only way it's possible to explain it. But the truth is that it's three-dimensional. And anyway, let's just continue here with some other signs that occurred on March 25th. Okay, so again, prior to March 25th, we were expecting a James Earl Jones Lion King sign and a Niagara Falls barge sign. March 25th was exactly 50 years after Gordon Lightfoot's Sundown song was released, and Lightfoot had a famous song that alludes to Niagara Falls. The Shipwreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald song, he speaks about the flow of water between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, which is the Niagara River, which flows over Niagara Falls. Okay? So that's the reason why God is using the Gordon Lightfoot songs and in his signs. And the other one, his only number one hit, Sundown, is of course alluding to the power outage that will be caused by the coming predicted solar flare. Okay, the sun sign we received on March 25th was the first public statement from star Japanese baseball player Ohtani regarding the unfolding sports betting scandal involving his interpreter. All right, some background here. First of all, Japan is symbolism in his... God has demonstrated prior to this in many different ways that Japan is symbolism for the sun. It is the land of the rising sun. There is a big sun on its flag. All right, and also, God has used this player Ohtani in a number of prophetic signs prior to this. So, by the way, one thing about Ohtani is that it hints at Obama, the Antichrist. All right, so, okay, let's move on. And the predicted coming catastrophic explosion on the sun. Japan is also symbolism for nuclear bombs, because, of course, the first and only nuclear bombs that were dropped in wartime were dropped on Japan. Okay, so Japan is symbolism for this too, and the predicted dirty bomb in New York City, okay, blah, 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 as I mentioned earlier, blah, blah, blah. Ohtani is the only blah, 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 okay? Okay, Ohtani hints at Obama, which hints at Obama. And the news story regarding the scandal broke on March 20th, which was the spring equinox, which confirmed this as a sun sign. Okay, so the scandal broke on this day, but he was in Korea at the time playing the season opener for the Major League Baseball season a few days before the other teams played their openers in their home parks. These two Major League Baseball teams, including Ohtani's team, traveled to South Korea to play this one game. And anyway, that date was the equinox, which makes it a sun sign. And then when Ohtani returned 5 days later on the 25th was his first public statement regarding this scandal. Okay? The news broke after Ohtani and his team won the Major League Baseball season opener in a game in South Korea in which the score was 5-2, which hinted at 52. It also hints at 7. Okay, and again, we were expecting the 7 days warning here. But also God uses this number 52 because it is 2 times 26. And God uses the number 226 because the 226th word in the Hebrew concordance is the Hebrew word that means prophetic sign. It's just a confirmation that it is a prophetic sign. The score being 5-2. Ohtani plays for Los Angeles, and on March 25th, his team played the other Los Angeles team. Los Angeles hints at fallen angels. Ohtani is the only two-way player, and he has won the MVP twice. By the way, Obama bats both ways as well, if you know what I mean. That's a fact. It's not a conspiracy. It's documented. It's a fact. It's scandalous. This, in fact, I'll just elaborate why it's scandalous, other than it being an abomination in the eyes of God. He also has murdered someone because of this. All right? He's murdered 2 people because of this secret of his. All right. That's also a fact. And anyway, if you don't believe me, the prediction being made in this video will prove the matter, and that is the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction. It is to prove the controversial things that I am saying that are overwhelmingly proven to be true through God's big picture of signs, which is only being explained on this channel. And when the prediction comes to pass, it will prove that what is being explained on this channel is God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections. But it also makes sense that the Antichrist would be a murderer in his past. All right. This Otani sign on March 25th, okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, as I said earlier, I'm going to be going blah, blah, blah. Besides the Boeing Lion Air crash sign on March 25th being a Lion King sign, there was a sign involving P. Diddy on March 25th. Now, what it needs to be said here too is that this also is the sign we expected because of the connection of March 25th being the exact 50 years connection of the release of the musician Gordon Lightfoot's song Sundown. All right? We have a musician sign. Now, I'm personally not a fan of P. Diddy, and I don't know too much about him, but I now know enough. What I do know is that God pointed to this. What I do know is that God used P. Diddy in prophetic ways on March 25th, and that makes perfect sense to me because he is the iconic rap industry figure. And so God is using all kinds of ways to reach all people in all walks of life, including countless sports signs. In fact, it is impossible, really, to know and appreciate God's big picture of signs without appreciating the myriad of sports signs. And so if you aren't a sports fan, it is irrelevant. But also cultural signs, such as this one. But the point I'm making is that we have this connection from musician in the 1970s to this modern day, although from what I know, P. Diddy's heyday was in the 2000s, over a decade ago. But anyway, he nonetheless is a famous musician, and that's the confirmation that the P. Diddy sign is related. But as I'll say probably, I'm sure, very soon in this email, the other reason, or rather confirmation for this, is that P. Diddy is absolutely famous for constantly wearing sunglasses. He is always wearing sunglasses, dark sunglasses. And that's because it connects to the musician's song Sundown, Gordon Lightfoot. It's amazing how God is so beautiful with his connections and creative. Okay, the rapper known for sunglasses is in the news big time, as we will see, exactly 50 years after the release of the song Sundown. Confirmation complete, 100% of the 50 years connection. Now, what happened to P. Diddy on March 25th? His homes were raided. They were raided by the federal government, in fact, which, as I will explain, is relevant. The homes are in Los Angeles. And by the way, that's where the statement from Otani was made. The big story about Otani this year is him moving to, or rather, changing teams from the Los Angeles Angels to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, so P. Diddy's home was raided on the same day as the other Los Angeles sign. All right? But P. Diddy has two homes, just like the Los Angeles player bats two ways and won the MVP twice, or plays two ways. He's a pitcher and a batter. Okay, two homes were raided by the FBI of P. Diddy. The other home was in Miami, and God has established in his signs that Miami is symbolism for the sun. I won't explain that. Just take my word for it. Two homes hint at 2 days, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to have to repeat it just so you know again. This was March 25th, and God pointed to March 27th, and we received the relevant signs that confirmed the analysis. But from now on, I'm going to say blah, blah, blah when this subject comes up in this email thread. This also hints at Trumpet's home that was also raided in South Florida. And again, on this day, we received a Trumpet sign with the bond being reduced to 175 million. That was a particular. Trump is in the news, of course, every day, but not like this. It was the crisis moment, because had this not happened, it was possible that he would lose all of his properties and go into bankruptcy. But at the last minute on this day, the bond was reduced, but it was reduced to a prophetic number, 175, because of Flight 175, which again was confirmed with the Boeing sign on the same day. And again, Trump is associated with the 9/11 because, again, he was part of the 9/11 sign, which is explained in other videos. But again, he called into Channel 9 News, and anyway, I won't explain it, but that's the case. He is part of the 9/11 sign. Okay, this also hints at Trumpet's home being raided in South Florida, just like P. Diddy's home. The Trump sign on March 25th was the new bond amount of 175 million, Flight 175. The name of P. Diddy, his real name, Sean John Combs, is equal to 138, as is Donald John Trump, equal to 138. Okay, so we have the two signs on the same day, just more a confirmation with the fact that both of their names equal the same number. There may be some prophetic significance to 138. I would not be surprised. I would actually be surprised if there isn't, but I didn't have time to look into it. P. Diddy was born 99 months exactly, which is 3,114 days, which hints at the area code 314 for St. Louis, where it is predicted that Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash. And that is only scratching the surface of why the significance of 314. Okay, but anyway, P. Diddy was born exactly 99 months after Obama was born. You see, I'm writing this email to those to friends that already know all of these things that I'm talking about, and I just can't explain everything over. I can't explain everything. So P. Diddy, Sean John Combs, hints at Jay-Z, another rapper from the same era, same generation. Sean John Combs, who was born exactly 1 month after P. Diddy. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure who is who here. Oh, Sean John Carter. So they even have similar names. Sean John Combs. Okay, and hints at Jay-Z, who has basically the same name, Sean John Carter. And they were born exactly 1 month apart. In other words, this isn't a coincidence. Why did God do this? Exactly for what I'm explaining right now. Jay-Z was born exactly 8 years and 4 months after Obama was born, on the date 8/4. Okay. By the way, the reason for the 99 months is because the number 9 is the most important in God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, which is only being explained on this channel. As from the Bible, it symbolizes God's judgment. But this 8 years and 4 months also hints at Obama, because he was born on the date 8/4, and his name in Hebrew gematria, Obama, equals 84. Okay. His wife, Beyonce, Jay-Z's wife, is also known as Queen Bey. And again, we are expecting a king sign. That's quite sufficient for that. Queen Bey. Okay, God, this isn't, in fact, this isn't the first time in which God has used Beyonce, Queen Bey, in lieu of a James Earl Jones sign that was expected in advance, but that's explained in other videos. It might actually come up in this email, actually, in a minute. Okay, but anyway, Beyonce was born exactly 11 years and 9 months, which hints at 9/11, after Jay-Z was born. Okay? So Jay-Z was born with a prophetic connection to Obama, and Beyonce, his wife, was born with a prophetic connection to Jay-Z. Queen Bey was born exactly 2,222 weeks before it is predicted that Michelle Obama will become the Queen of America with her appointment as the Vice President on April 5th. Now that is amazing too, and I can't explain that in this video. That video I haven't made yet, but that video I think will be titled something to the effect of Biden at the Baltimore Bridge or New York earthquake, but I might actually put that into the Baltimore Bridge video and extend the Baltimore Bridge video, which already is, and then even more will be the case, one of the most important videos on this channel. So hopefully you would have recognized that without me even saying that, given the title just alone with Baltimore Bridge. But anyway, because of how big of a story it has been in the news. Okay, so anyway, this is leading to the second presidency of Barack Obama, hence the reason for the 222 weeks. Okay, and also the second presidency of the Antichrist king will lead to the King of Kings. Queen Bey starred in the new The Lion King movie. That's the connection between her and James Earl Jones, besides the king symbolism. P. Diddy, because James Earl Jones wasn't only the Lion King, he was also King Jafar in the Eddie Murphy movies. He also read the audio book James Earl Jones Reads the King James Bible. I should say King James Bible. P. Diddy is a rapper musician from the same generation era as Jay-Z and Beyonce. So the P. Diddy sign on March 25th connects to the Lion King. Okay? Again, because we already had this established as well with the Lion Air Boeing sign, and now we have this P. Diddy sign as well. And as I just explained, that clearly connects to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And again, Beyonce starred in the new The Lion King movie. She won a Grammy for it, and on and on. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. The other prophetic sign on March 25th was the U.S.'s abstention on the anti-Israel resolution at the UN. The first time since the one that was prophetic extremely in 2016. These two prophetic resolutions are 2,649 days apart. G 2,649 in the concordance is the word that means to testify or bear witness against, used in context of the Jews testifying against Jesus, for which they were banished from Israel and scattered across the globe, but have been returned in God's mercy at the closing of the age, at which time the world that is in league with Satan will and has been ganging up on Israel, seeking to divide God's land, for which the world will be judged and thus bring about the second coming of the King of Kings, who will rule for the 1,000 years of peace from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Okay. The Otani sign on March 25th gives us the number 17 and the number 10. Okay, he wears jersey number 17. And God has used Otani and his number 17 before in a prophetic sign. For example, there was a prophetic sign involving Otani and his 500th strikeout. The 500th word in the Greek concordance is the word Antichrist in Greek. God uses pitchers on the pitching mound as symbolism for the Antichrist on the Temple Mount in Bible prophecy. And number 17 had this prophetic strikeout. By the way, Obama Otani Obama has also been on the pitching mound in prophetic signs. But anyway, on the day of the prophetic strikeout, there's more to the story, but it was also the same day that Obama gave a speech at the Seat of Satan in Berlin to 17,000 people. Berlin is the seat of Satan because it's where the Temple of Pergamum exists after it was excavated from Turkey, and Jesus in Revelation chapter 2 says that the seat of Satan is Pergamum. Okay. So anyway, we have a number 17 in the sign on March 25th. The date it is now predicted that James Earl Jones will die and the barge will crash over Niagara Falls is April 11th, 17 days later. Okay? Now, Otani again is from the sun. And like I said before, I think may have said it in this video, but the death of James Earl Jones and the predicted crash of the Niagara barge over Niagara Falls is predicted to be 7 days warning before the catastrophic solar flare from the sun that will knock out the North American power grid on April 18th, 7 days later, which is 17 days after these signs that pointed to James Earl Jones and the barge on March 25th. And again, Lightfoot pointed to the barge, and P. Diddy confirmed that, as I explained. All right. Now, the other thing, too, is that the flood judgment began in Genesis 7:17. So from this March 25th date, we have 17 days and then 7 days to the expected solar flare. Okay, the news story broke of Otani on the equinox, which hinted at the sun, and so does Japan again, and he's the famous Japanese player. And the MLB season opener with Otani's team in South Korea, it was his first game in his mega 10-year contract with Los Angeles. All right. Now, this is another blah blah because April 4th was also an amazing step on the trail of signs for the Harris predicted crash and the bomb predicted to be in Manhattan. That date is now predicted to be 4 times 4 days after the date 4/4 on April 20th. So anyway, all right. The two-way player who won 2 MVP awards plays for Los Angeles. On the day of the Otani statement on March 25th in Los Angeles, 2 of P. Diddy's homes were raided, one of them in Los Angeles. The other in Miami was raided. March 25th was the 50-year anniversary of Lightfoot's Sundown, a musician connection. How is P. Diddy related to Sundown? P. Diddy is known for always wearing dark sunglasses. His biggest hit, I'll Be Missing You, which is essentially the song Every Breath You Take by The Police. And March 20th was expected in advance to be a date because it was exactly 490 months after the release of Every Breath You Take. And P. Diddy connects to that through Otani because Otani spoke on the P. Diddy date, and this story regarding Otani broke on March 20th, the equinox. Well, anyway, let's move on. This is amazing. I just watched P. Diddy's famous victory music video. Okay? I knew little about P. Diddy prior to today. The video is known for being 8 minutes long. Literally, it's just 2 seconds shy of being 8 minutes long. It's quite a long music video. And that hints at 4+4, which hints at the 44th president. Why the name Victory? Because God's faithful will be rescued, just like Noah and his family were rescued in the ark. God's faithful will be rescued from the Antichrist in what is called in Christianity the rapture event from the Antichrist, the 44th president. It cost the video $2.7 million to make, which hints at 27, which is 9 plus 9 plus 9. And God frequently uses a repetition of 3 times of a number for emphasis of its symbolic meaning. And again, the number 9 is the most important number in God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, which is only being explained on this channel. As from the Bible, the number 9 symbolizes God's judgment. This P. Diddy sign was also the day of the P. Diddy home raid in Florida, the 27th state. Okay, so again, P. Diddy is being pointed to here, and he has a famous video. It's named Victory, which hints at the rapture, the victory of God's faithful who will be rescued from the persecution of the 44th president, which is why the video is 4 plus 4 minutes long and cost 2.7, which hints at 27. But this was also the day of P. Diddy's mansion in the 27th state. Okay. The video is listed as one of the most expensive music videos ever made, which is confirmation that the number is prophetic because God uses extremes and firsts and records for his prophetic signs. On March 25th, P. Diddy's Miami home was raided in the 27th state, 9 plus 9 plus 9. The first lyric in the song is, "The sun don't shine forever." That is amazing. That is confirmation of everything here. The fact that God is pointing to the video Victory and the song Victory through P. Diddy on March 25th. Because this was the date we were expecting a sun-related sign, because again, James Earl Jones and the Niagara Barge are all about the sun. All right. And we had furthermore the Otani sign, Japan, sun, the Miami home, sun. Well, the first lyric in this song is about the sun. The sun, and furthermore, it's about the sun don't shine. This hints at a blackout caused by the sun. The sun don't shine forever. The video is about an apocalyptic future. Amazing. The video stars Dennis Hopper as the dictator in the video. Okay? So this movie takes place in the apocalyptic future, and Dennis Hopper is in it. He actually did it pro bono, no charge, just making it more of an interesting story, which God would do. And so Dennis Hopper is in this video, which is more than a video because it's 8 minutes long, okay? But the thing is, Dennis Hopper starred in Apocalypse Now. This one of the most famous movies of all of history. Apocalypse Now was released on August 15th, 1979. By the way, I'm just going to emphasize it again. The video is about an apocalyptic future. It stars Dennis Hopper, and Hopper starred in Apocalypse Now. Clear a connection, okay? This isn't random. This isn't a stretch. This isn't me pulling things out of a hat. This is clear. Apocalypse Now was released on August 15th, 1979. The movie had a $9 million advertising campaign. By the way, I didn't mention it, I don't think, in the email because it's just coming to me now. That is a connection, a confirmation that it connects to the video because it cost 9.9.9 or 9 plus 9 plus 9, as we talked about. But the movie cost $9 million in its advertising campaign and had a total cost of $45 million. 45 is the 9th triangular number. So God doesn't only use the number 9, the most important number, but other numbers that symbolize the number 9. In a triangle of numbers, the last number in the 9th row is 45. This is, by the way, the reason, for example, the 45th president, God's trumpet that has been trumpeting judgment and destruction and the coming Antichrist. That is the purpose, the underlying purpose of trumpet. But he's the 45th president because the number 9 symbolizes judgment. Okay, so anyway, this movie Apocalypse Now cost a total of $45 million, the ninth triangular number, when we include the $9 million advertising campaign. The reason why that's notable is because that's highly unusual for a advertising campaign. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made the standard Wikipedia and elsewhere notes. Okay, so anyway, got 2 number 9s in the movie. This is because the apocalypse will begin on, I'm talking about the apocalypse that's described in the book of Revelation. We are already in the apocalypse, don't get me wrong. But the major devastation will really get going. The crazy stuff, the really crazy stuff that's described in the book of Revelation, will begin on the 9th of Av in the Hebrew calendar. This extremely prophetic date throughout history in Hebrew Jewish history is this 9th of Av date. Av is one of the months of the year, so it's the 9th day of this month named Av. Okay. Again, the number 9 symbolizes God's judgment. This is the beginning of the tribulation, if you will. But this year, the 9th of Av in the Hebrew calendar will be the exact 45th anniversary of the release of Apocalypse Now. This will be the day after the rapture on the 9th of Av in the observed calendar on August 13th, 2024. So the rapture is going to occur on the 9th of Av in the observed calendar, and just after that, maybe simultaneously or the day after, but the exact 45th anniversary is August 15th. And I already knew that the tribulation would begin the day after the rapture. Now, also, the 9th of Av begins at sunset. Well, actually, it begins at sunset on the 12th and goes into sunset on the 13th. So, we're talking about the tribulation beginning on the 14th and 15th. What I'm saying is, trust me. Although the 9th of Av is the 13th, God is pointing to August 15th this year, because that is the 45th anniversary of the movie Apocalypse Now. Whatever is going to happen, August 15th will be a big date. All right? And that's the reason for all of this, my friends. This is the reason for P. Diddy, all of these March 25th signs. See, the thing is, the reason why God develops these trails of science is not to get to the ultimate prediction. It's so that he can tell stories along the way that he wouldn't otherwise be able to with one simple prophetic sign. Like I'm saying, the full intended meaning of God's prophetic signs cannot be properly understood without their context and connections to other prophetic signs. This being a perfect example. You needed to have these signs on March 25th in order to learn what I just told you about, which is this connection to the movie Apocalypse Now and how the apocalypse will begin this August on the 15th. The rapture on the 9th of Av is confirmed in other overwhelming ways that aren't mentioned in this email. Okay? Now, yeah, we should maybe just pause and soak that in, but let's continue. You can pause the video and think about what I just said. That the rapture will be on the 9th of Av was first discovered after the realization that the recent Candace Owens sign on March 22nd was a rapture sign. Right? This is the first time that I'm telling my friends that I have learned that the rapture will be on the 9th of Av. Prior to this, I was convinced that Pentecost would be the date, That is because God has overwhelmingly pointed to Pentecosts for this purpose in his prophetic signs in the past. Unlike, well, I shouldn't say that. God has also pointed to other Hebrew feast dates as well. Well, anyway, that's another subject. Let's continue. But I first realized this fact after the Candace Owens sign, okay? And that is because Candace in the Bible symbolizes rapture, the rescue. By the way, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the rapture event is Christianity's most preposterous idea. It's this event when God's faithful will disappear, they will not die, and just go straight to the kingdom in heaven to be with Jesus, and then return with Jesus in their resurrected bodies at his second coming, and live and rule with him in the 1,000 years of peace as his priests on earth. Now, Candace, because Philip was raptured. Philip was commanded or told by an angel of God to go south to Gaza, and there he encountered the Ethiopian. Hence why I talked about the Ethiopian earlier in this video, and how it's related to Obama. And he spoke with the Ethiopian, who was the representative, the treasurer, okay, you got that? It's a tough word to say, the treasurer, for the Queen of Egypt, Candace. All right? Now, after he spoke with the Ethiopian and showed him through the prophecy in the Bible that Jesus is the Christ, Philip disappeared and was raptured and taken to another area of Israel. All right? This was symbolic, a foreshadow of the rapture. Now, Candace Owens, the headline of the news of the day was her release from Daily Wire, and in the headlines was what she posted on social media, quote unquote, "I'm free!" exclamation mark, which is completely symbolic of the rapture. I'm free, because that is the rapture. Freedom from this world that is ruled by the ruler of this world, Satan. Freedom from the Antichrist and the coming persecution, Satan's representative. So that's why Candace exclaimed, "I'm free." She is a rapture sign. This was a rapture sign. And it happens to be, this is the confirmation, 144 days exactly to the 9th of Av on August 13th. And 144 is the number in the book of Revelation that is synonymous with those who will be raptured. For those that don't know, the 144,000, for those that don't know but know what I'm talking about, the 144,000 is most definitely symbolic of those who will be raptured. What has also been known for years is that the 9th of Av in 2024 will be the date of the Revelation 15 sign in the night sky, for those that know what I'm talking about. I found Dan Matson's page on this through using Wayback Machine. His website is no longer up. He passed away and to be with the Lord. And you can get to this page that talks about the Revelation 15 sign through this link. If you're watching the video, perhaps you can type it out. Anyway, and it has been known for years that the 9th of Av in 2024 will be the 30th anniversary. In the Bible, 30 years is symbolic of a king. Joseph and David were made kings at the age of 30. Okay, this will be the 30th anniversary of Comet Schumacher-Levy 9 that pummeled Jupiter, the king planet, on the 9th of Av in 1994. And it has been known that 1994 was exactly 110 years after the prophetic eclipse over Europe at the start of World War I on the 9th of Av. And that was the eclipse that signified the beginning of the birth pains. It was literally at the beginning of the World War I, and all of the empires that the path of the eclipse passed over met their demise as a result of World War I. The location over which the eclipse peaked, a location named, if I recall correctly, Tannenbaum, was the location of the only battle in the war that had any consequence to the outcome of the war. All of the other battles meant absolutely nothing in regards to the outcome of the war except for this particular battle. Had the Germans fared a little better or a little worse, it would have been a completely different story. And that was the location that the eclipse peaked over. Well, anyway, that's how God works. But this is a pairing of 9 and 110. And by the way, the eclipse and World War I were the beginning of the birth pains that Jesus talked about before his second coming. The rumors of war, nation rising up against nation, Matthew 24. That's because World War I led to the restoration of Israel, the Balfour Declaration, and Jews emigrating back to Palestine after the Turkish Empire met its demise as a result of World War I at the defeat of the British, who then ruled over Palestine and allowed Jews to immigrate back to Israel. That was the beginning of the birth pains, all right, that Jesus spoke about. Okay, so, April 11th will be 22 days after the equinox, which is symbolic of the sun, when the news story broke about the two-way Japanese sun player pitching on a pitching mound, high place, who won 2 MVP awards. Okay. Anyway. The name of the P. Diddy song is Victory, which hints at the rapture. Again, the apocalyptic video stars Dennis Hopper, which connects to Apocalypse Now, which connects to the rapture. Also, on the equinox, on March 20th, Isaiah Thomas made his comeback in the NBA with the Phoenix Suns. He had missed one shot, and in God's signs, basketball shots symbolize the coming shot from the sun. This hints at the book of Isaiah Thomas, and his comeback, and the comeback hints at the comeback of Obama, hence the Ohtani sign on the same day as the comeback of Isaiah Thomas, because of the comeback of Obama, him becoming the president again. Okay? So did you get all that? And the book of Isaiah also speaks of the sun and judgment on the world. All right. So that is it for this video. That's explaining what happened on March 25th. It was very important. I'll probably actually, come to think of it, title this video Apocalypse Now. This is an amazing video, and please share it when the prediction comes to pass. Especially if you are a Christian, know that you are obligated. And I mean that very, very seriously. You are obligated to share this video as much as possible. There is no evangelistic tool that compares with making such a prediction. And if you don't believe me that you need to, read Ezekiel chapter 3 and 33 and what happens to those people that are watching that don't warn other people. They will be guilty. And the once saved, always saved is the Nicolaitan doctrine of our day that Jesus said he hates and is coming to make war on those that teach and also have the works that are a product of this doctrine. Evangelicals in general have a phobia regarding doing anything, regarding works, because they believe if they think they need to do some works, they're going to lose their salvation. It is wicked deception from Satan. It's so tricky. They actually think that by contemplating them needing to do some works, that they'll lose their salvation, and that gets them to not do anything. That's the problem within the evangelical culture today. And but remember the parable that Jesus spoke to regarding the bags of gold. All three of them, he is definitely speaking to disciples in Matthew 25. It's a carryover from Matthew 24 for that matter. And all three of the people that the master gave bags to symbolize Christian disciples, Christians. And the one Christian that didn't do anything with this bag of gold was banished to hell. Just to give you more of a confirmation regarding what it says in Ezekiel chapter 3 and 33. So anyway, you are obligated to share these videos nonstop. Now is the time. You are privileged. This is a bag of gold. Having come across this video and watching it is a bag of gold. You must do everything you possibly can with this video. Make sure you go over to the other platforms in case the YT channel doesn't exist in the future. I would, if you're going to, which you need to, invest your time into promoting the video, I would do it with the other platforms. The free speech, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. God bless. Believe me, I know far better than you how the prediction made in this video was derived. And more importantly, I know far better than you why the righteous Christian God of the Bible has given me a voice through this prediction. If you are a quote-unquote Christian or Muslim, this prediction was not learned through a demon. Be warned that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the unforgivable sin. If you are a New Ager or New Spirituality person, this prediction was not learned through somehow tapping into the supposed universal collective consciousness. If you are a conspiracy theorist, this prediction was not learned through figuring out a supposed code that the Illuminati and Satanists are using. This prediction was learned through the Bible and through watching carefully the Lord's prophetic signs, which Jesus commanded all Christians to do. Besides proving that Jesus Christ is the Lord, the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction is to prove that the controversial things that I am saying in the videos on this channel are the truth. Therefore, a wise person will want to watch all of the videos on this channel. Aliens and UFOs are demons masquerading as aliens and UFOs. Most people's spiritual experiences are demonic deception, especially if they are not a true follower of Christ. God became a man and died a horrible death at the hand of the ruler of this world, Satan, and then defeated death for you, so that you too can overcome death, which is the price that must be paid for sin. It is time to repent, which means to change one's ways and turn to God and become a disciple of Jesus. Please leave a like and upvote the video. And once this prediction has come to pass, share this video with everyone you know, and more. Don't stop sharing it everywhere in social media. It is essential that everyone immediately read the homepage of my website, TrumpPrediction.com. If you are watching this on the YouTube platform, please note that not all of the videos are on YouTube. You need to switch to the BitChute.com or the Odyssey.com channel. And do it now in case you aren't able to later.